Hi there, Mick back here. This time with the top 20 archival and reissues for jazz for 2024. Okay, number 20. The Die Like a Dog Quartet featuring Peter Brosman, Toshinori Kondo, William Parker, Hammond Drake. This is recorded live in Berlin in 1993. Fantastic double album reissued by Trost. And the title is Fragments of Music, Life and Death of Albert Ayler. Certainly an out release, and Peter Brosman greatly missed by myself. Next up is this one, which is on Blue Night, featuring McCoy Tyner on piano, Joe Hennison on tenor sax, Henry Grimes on bass, and Jack DeJohnette on drums. This is called Forces of Nature, live at Slugs. And this is an archival release. This hasn't been previously issued, but Blue Note have done a fantastic job in bringing it back to us all. Number 18, the Red Garland Trio with Groovy, featuring Paul Chambers and Arthur Taylor as well on bass and drums. Fantastic reissue on OJC. The first of two Alice Coltrane's in my list, and this one's once again a archival release, and this is at the Carnegie Hall. Alice Coltrane's joined by Pharoah Sanders, Archie Shepp, Jimmy Garrison, Ed Blackwell, and Kumar Kramer on harmonium. Tulsi also hangs out with the tambura, helps out with the tambura. Fantastic document. And this one's on the always great Impulse label. Next up, Tone Poet. And this time it's Donald Byrd. And what we have here is Bird's Eye View, featuring Art Blakely. Fantastic booklet inside, which mimics the original release. Of course, as everyone would be aware, this is mastered by Kevin Gray and co-produced with Joe Harley. Fantastic series, it just keeps on giving. Next up, we have Harold Land with Choma. And this one here is on on We Want Sound, which has released a heap of great things this year. It has Reggie Johnson on bass, Harold Land Jr. on piano, and more importantly, Najee on drums. Fantastic release on We Want Jazz, initially on the Mainstream label. Next up, People in Love by Johnny Lytle. Johnny Lytle played the vibraphone, and I do like the vibraphone in jazz. This was originally on Milestone and has been fantastically reissued by the Craft label. I know there's been a couple of issues of this, but this is the OGC version, and certainly something that was in my price point and came out well into my life earlier this year. This is Eastern Sounds featuring Yusuf Latif. And a fantastic production. Next up, Blue Note Classic with Hank Mobley with Workout. An upgrade from the digital mastering on the 75th version, and this features Grant Green on guitar, Wynton Kelly on piano, Paul Chambers on bass, and Philly Joe Jones on drums. Once again, mastered by Kevin Gray. Little something from Record Store Day. And of course, it's Sunro with a fantastic archival release. It's a double LP, and it talks about, and it is the original sessions that were produced by Bill Sebastian and Sunro. Next up, we have Where, Ron Carter with Eric Dolphy and Mel Waldron. One of those releases, it's out, it's not, but also not too out. Once again on the OGC label, originally on New Jazz and coming with a textured cover. The second of our Alice Coltrane releases, a Monastic Trio. This one was through Third Man and Verve. Great sounding album, and certainly a good way of getting a really quality pressing for an affordable price. A lot of people aren't happy with Third Man broadly, but I've always found their pressings to be reasonable, and certainly something like this, particularly in Australia, is very difficult to find an original from. Okay, hitting the top 5 now. Here's a bit of a free jazz album that was longing for a reissue, and Kraft certainly have done that. So this is the Prince Lasher Quartet featuring Sonny Simmons, and Kraft have done a fantastic job with this. The AAA lacquers have been cut by Bernie Grumman, and Bernie does do a fantastic job and certainly brings this music to alive. Once again, one of those albums is difficult to find an original of. Okay, another archival release, and this one's called For Peace and Liberty. And in this case, the Black Artist Group features a heap of people from the Art Ensemble of Chicago, but most notably Joseph Bowie. This was unreleased, and thanks to We Want Sounds, it's been received a first official release in 50 years, and all these performances come from a French radio archive. Okay, more Tone Poet territory, and this one now features the vibes of Bobby Hutcherson. I only got this a couple of weeks back, but certainly a fantastic presentation, and what a lineup. Freddie Hubbard, Sam Rivers, Bobby Hutcherson, Andrew Hill, Richard Davison, Joe Chambers on drums. More fantastic work from Blue Note. Tone Poet, and certainly the label I most purchased in 2024, and it's probably looking at that way for 2025. Another Record Store Day release, and this one is the mono version of Everybody Digs Bill Evans. Fantastic recording, once again remastered by Kevin Gray from the original master tapes. Sam Jones features on bass along with Philly Joe Jones, initially on the Riverside label. Okay, my highest ranking Tone Poet. This one's Anthony Williams. Now, Anthony Williams features on drums with this one. We have Sam Rivers on tenor saxophone, Bobby Hutcherson on vibes and marimba, Herbie Hancock on piano, Richard Davis on bass, Gary Peacock on bass, and of course Tony Williams on drums. Fantastic presentation, and another great Tone Poet from Blue Note. Next up, we have an archival release. This one features Milford Graves, Charles Gale, and William Parker. That's a 1991 performance. Fantastic box set reissue, which features some great artwork and the original flyer, etc. for the concert. Great album. Okay, my number 2, Jamal. This one's a reissue of a French pressing, and I'm actually not too sure if it's actually official. It's been released by Eating Standard, so maybe it's one of those things that's legal in Europe. Anyway, it does sound good, and you certainly get Bird Lancaster, Jamal, and Clint Jackson as well. So certainly a classic release, and certainly free. And my number 1. I was so surprised that Analog Productions did this. Cho Freeman, Spirit Sensitive, beautifully reproduced gatefold. And along with Chico, we have Cecil McBee, John Hex, Billy Hart, and Don Moy, who you might know as Famu Don Moy, for my number one. So I certainly recommend everyone gets that. Okay, thanks for everyone. That's my top 20 jazz and archival reissues of 2024.